Welcome back. The Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, alongside its stakeholders, is hosting a national validation workshop on the Comprehensive Conservation Agriculture Program. The workshop commenced today in Otjiwarongo. To give us more on this, I'm joined by the Deputy Director at the Directorate of Agricultural Production, Extension and Engineering Services from FAO, Mr. Ben Haraseb. So good evening and welcome to the show. Mr. Haraseb, could you please provide an overview of the National Validation Workshop on the Comprehensive Conservation Agriculture Program?
All right. We, as the Minister of Agriculture, Water and Land Reform, as you have indicated, with the FAO and other international partners and local partners, started implementing Comprehensive Conservation Agriculture Program since 2015. And the first program started from 2015 up to 2020. And that is where then we decided to then do the review of that program. What we have then found out is that from the 13,000 farmers that we were targeting, we then created awareness among the 13,000 farmers, plus minus 91% of the farmers that were then, where we then created those awareness among those farmers. And then we also, from those assessment, we realized that we have trained around 57 farmers. And then also from that, we also realized that the adoption rate in terms of conservation agriculture stands currently at 53%. So it's quite an indication that farmers are willing to take up comprehensive conservation agriculture. And I think it's the right direction in terms of the implementation of conservation agriculture in Namibia.
And what are the objectives and expected outcomes for this national validation workshop currently ongoing?
So basically, we have started with the second Comprehensive Conservation Agriculture Workshop program, which then we will then, once we are done with the drafting of the document, we will then implement the Comprehensive Conservation Agriculture Program number 2, which we then look at in terms of how to improve the livelihood of our farmers through using the conservation agriculture, smart agriculture, and then also at the same time regenerate the forest wells that we have in this country. So at the end of the day, what we want to achieve is to put money into the pockets of the farmers, and also at the same time improve the food security levels at the household level and also at the national level.
Speak to us, Mr. Haraseb, about the key components or principles of the Comprehensive Conservation Agriculture Program.
Of course, we have three principles that we are trying to promote. That is intercropping, or what you call the crop rotation, whereby you can plant various crops within the same field. And then also at the same time, we are the second principle that we are promoting is the minimum soil disturbance, so that the soil does not get eroded or washed away. And then third principle that we are implementing is organic soil cover, or which we can basically say a permanent soil cover, of course, which is one of the difficult principles to implement because of the system that we are practicing in communal areas where farmers allow their animals then to come in after they have harvested their crops to come and graze in those fields. So these are some of the principles. However, within the new Comprehensive Conservation Agriculture Program, we are looking at the issues of strengthening agriculture research and extension capacities, for them to be able to engage into various activities that will help assist farmers to be able to implement comprehensive conservation agriculture. The other issue that we are looking at is the coordination within the various institutions, or within the institution and also with the various stakeholders. That is the reason why we brought in various role players for them to come and feel that they are part of conservation agriculture in Namibia. Those are just some few items that we are looking at.
When we speak in terms of challenges, what are the main challenges or perhaps barriers to adopting comprehensive conservation agriculture practices, and how can they be addressed?
All right, thank you very much. Of course, as we have done the review of the previous conservation agriculture program, we identified some of the challenges, and that's basically a lack of having sufficient funds for us to be able to roll out the program fully. Secondly, we also realized that there are conservation agriculture equipments that are lacking in the country, and hence I think that is one of the issues that we really need to address for us to be able to implement conservation agriculture fully. And of course, the biggest challenge is then the knowledge base of what conservation agriculture is all about, and that is the key and critical issue that we really need to address. I know I've already indicated that from the 13,000 farmers that we have targeted, at least we have done the awareness of 91% of the farmers. Hence, I think we will still continue to do that just to create awareness and then convert farmers to adopt conservation agriculture.
What role, Mr. Haraseb, does research and innovation play when it comes to advancing the comprehensive agriculture approach?
Yes, of course. Research is a very critical component in most of the agriculture activities. Without research, the challenges that are faced by the farmers will not be able to be resolved or will not be able to be solved. And hence, we are saying that they are the key components which we can then try and implement what we call the farming system research and extension, which basically it's the approach that we can that we are using, meaning that the identification of the challenges should basically come from the farmers, and then our research institution or department or the directorate, they should be able to research and then give the feedback to extension officials for them to be able to then convey the possible solutions to the farmers. And that way we then create a circle or interaction between research, the farmers, and then the extension officers that will then disseminate this information to the interested farmers and so on.
Mr. Haraseb, could you share some perhaps case studies or success stories of countries that have implemented the Comprehensive Conservation Agriculture Program, and what were the key contributing factors to this success?
There are various countries, of course, mostly, of course, there are various countries that are implementing conservation agriculture, but if I take the example of Zimbabwe and Zambia, Zambia is doing quite well. Their focus is then to capacitate farmers and also at the same time provide inputs and equipments to the lead farmers, and then also capacitating their lead farmers for them to be able to do what we call mentoring of the follower farmers, which is one of the successful factors. I think the subsidy program within Zambia, it's quite something that Namibia can consider at this moment when it comes to the e-service that they are providing under the subsidy program that they are implementing. So these are one of the positives that we as Namibia can take from.
Just lastly, before I let you go, Mr. Haraseb, your final remarks this evening.
Yes, thank you for giving me the final opportunity. I think that Namibia is still at the infant stage, and I believe that with the involvement of all the stakeholders within the agriculture sector, we should be able to do more in terms of promoting conservation agriculture. And then we should be able to see the difference when it comes to the production of whether it's cereals or whether it's cash crops and so on. I believe that is the only way that we will move the agriculture sector into the right direction.
So thank you so much for your time, and thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
That was Mr. Ben Haraseb, Deputy Director at the Directorate of Agricultural Production, Extension and Engineering Services from the FAO. We're back with some health right after.